got in and had a seat. So we will start. Let me know when we are. All right. Good morning. I'm Dan Gibson. I'm your mayor, and I am excited about today and so grateful to see all of you here. So excited to see all of our friends, partners, and I've got to give a special shout out to our county leadership and our city leadership, the city, the county working together to make this happen. So before I say anything further, I want to introduce, and I'm going to ask them to stand, our local officials, city and county. If you would please stand. And I'm also going to, we have President Angela Hutchins on behalf of the Board of Supervisors here. We wouldn't be here today if it were not for our Board of Supervisors and their leadership. They own the airport. We also have our Mayor Pro Tem, Sarah Carter Smith, also Alderman Curtis Maroney, and I just saw Supervisor Wes Middleton walk in. Supervisor Middleton, grateful for you. People ask me all the time about the airport, and I remind them all the time, well, it's all a team sport, and the real leader in our team is the county, and we're so grateful. Not only President Hutchins for you and the supervisors and your support, but also to our county administrator, Mitzi Kahn. Would you please stand? We appreciate Mitzi so much. Mitzi really stepped in, and she has been the one running the ball, calling the plays, and it's all getting done. I'm going to introduce a couple more folks in just a minute, but I want to just say this. Do you realize our Natchez renewal is now about to begin its 7th year? And what a great way to celebrate the 7th year beginning than to have a commercial jet landing in Natchez-Adams County July 1. We can't say any more than that. You know, we've been saying it all along. It's happening in Natchez. I remember, and I was sharing this with a friend just a couple of days ago, I remember when I was only a couple years in as your mayor, and here we are now about to round out year 6. And we were seeing the Natchez renewal beginning to happen. We were seeing the new businesses. We were seeing people moving in. We were seeing houses increasing in value. We were actually seeing a lot of things beginning to happen. But we had our skeptics. And I shared, it was almost like Natchez was an old friend that had been on the deathbed and had had a little moment of rallying, but people just didn't believe it and felt like, well, it's just a little rallying time, but Natchez is not going to thrive like we used to see it thrive. Just an old friend, seen its better days. We got to our 3rd year, our 4th year. People still doubting. My question for you is today, we stand here almost now at the end of our 6th year, this Natchez renewal. We're about to celebrate the arrival of a commercial jet, United Airlines. We are about to celebrate in due time the completion of Phase 2 of Tracetown, soon to have the state's largest Hobby Lobby. I'm sorry, we already have Hobby Lobby, the state's largest TJ Maxx. We are, in due time, about to celebrate the beginning of a construction project on Silver Street, an almost $5 million dock being built by American Cruise Lines. We will, in due time, celebrate an amazing announcement regarding the Eola Hotel project. People have doubted that and doubted that. I can tell you, pulling into the parking lot, I got a text that absolutely made my year. And I can't wait for y'all to hear it in due time. We continue to have the ribbon cuttings. We continue to celebrate new businesses and new residents moving into our community. and we continue to celebrate great tourism and great advances in working together as a community. And so my question is, why do we still have skeptics? When will the folks ever just sit back and believe it? I think seeing is believing. And I believe what's about to happen on July 1 is going to bring a lot of skeptics around. And in due time, when we see Tracetown, when we see the EOLA, when we see the dock project for ACL, and when we see a new development coming north of Walmart, yes, got some good news this week on that as well. It's happening. Maybe some skeptics will eventually now come to see the light. But I am reminded that we will always have the naysayers. But today is not their day. Today is our day. I shared with a group just last week that I've heard a medical expert say negativity is as contagious as the flu. And that's why I have a dose of positivity, not just once every day, but multiple times a day. And I'm looking at people in the room who also share the positivity, and I want to thank you for being a part of the positive Natchez renewal. It's not slowing down, not by a long shot. In fact, we're still just in the beginning. Just you wait, Natchez. You ain't seen nothing yet. Well, I'm about to now bring up the guy who's really making this happen. I'm so grateful for him. He is an answered prayer. I truly believe, in fact, Jay Massey, we were just talking about praying every day. I have to get on my knees quite often to keep the faith, to know this Natchez renewal is not just a thing, but it is the thing. It is happening. And with God's favor, we were at the very moment we needed him, we were given an amazing talent with over 30 years experience with the FAA, someone who with his wife Mary Beth fell in love with Natchez and put an offer on a house in one weekend, and the rest is history, and we're so grateful they are here. And so Carl Beasley, our new airport director, I've never seen anybody hit the ground running like you, my friend. And you have done amazing things. Jeremiah, Gerald, we appreciate you. Jeremiah, stand up. We'll hear from Jeremiah in a minute, our airport consultant. But Carl, come on up, and you bring us up to date with what's going on and what July 1 is about to bring to Natchez.
Appreciate it, Mayor. Thank you so much. So I'll have to say, if Dan had told me this was happening before he hired me, y'all would have somebody else up here. All I can say is, wow, this is amazing. So as y'all know, I got this job last year while I was still with the FAA and was unable to do it officially until December 15th. I retired December 13th with almost 40 years in the FAA air traffic side, so this is totally different. So I want to thank everybody for your support. I've had nothing but good things from everybody. I want to start there and thank everybody. The county has done a Herculean job of making this happen. This is a 1.5 to 2 year projects crammed into 6 months. Without the help of Mitzi Kahn, without the help of the Board of Supervisors, without the help of the Airport Advisory Board, Waycaster, Dungan and Associates, Mr. Johnny and Gabrielle are awesome. Vassy Aviation, Brett Simon, our consultant for finance, and Neil Schaefer, Graham Coffett is our airport engineer. Just amazing things. And big thanks to Mr. Clint Pomeroy. He is my knowledge base from the past as we're digging out of where we were, but we're on the right track. And I've never seen anything this amazing before. And I just want to, again, thank this town for your support. So we picked Thrash Aviation, company out of Jackson, Mississippi. Hands down, we aren't regretting a second of it. Like I said, we picked them over 3, they hit the ground running, and this project is where it is today. So we'll kind of go through some of the slides. And also a big shout out to Mr. David Paradise. Without his willingness to move out of his hangar to another hangar so we could turn this 10,000 square foot box hangar into a state-of-the-art terminal, it wouldn't happen. So thanks to Paradise and Paradise Companies. So this right here is February 16th, 2026. That's the day Thrash hit the ground. So do the math. We're about 3.5 months in. This is where we were. That's, I think, one of Aaron Smith's planes in there, or Aaron Maroon's in there. Day one, we're digging up concrete. We actually had to excavate all the flooring out of there, put in all the plumbing in there, rough in, seal with cover, and then redo the flooring. Steel studs, foam insulation, and the walls are going in finally. And this is all constant. At the same time, I'm running a fueling supply, I'm running an FBO, I'm running a terminal, and the county's going to get their bill next year for this. There's the outside of the terminal. I mean, that was the entrance where the hangar doors used to be. And so that's the way it looks today. There is some more siding on it. If you see the picture to the left, that's the old terminal. The outside, this is where you'll be entering as you come in to get your ticket from SkyWest and check in to go through TSA. The far right, oh, that's not the far right. Here we go. SkyWest is in. They have so much equipment on the ground now, it's incredible. So they are invested, they are here. Here's your entrance in through TSA, all the flooring. This was taken yesterday and it's completed today. All the flooring is in. Here's more that's left, all the SkyWest tugs, equipment. There's a de-icing truck in Mississippi, go figure. Laura Davenport, she's the head for United we've been dealing with. She goes, I've never seen such a new de-icing truck delivered. And I go, we have never seen a de-icing truck, period. So both years or both days that we get to use it, we'll be thankful it's here. On the right, that is the newest picture of the terminal. That's the tarmac where the aircraft will pull up to. Your waiting area will be right inside that glass. So that was the front of Mr. Paradise's hangar. And here's your new county airport, Natchez-Adams County Airport. The signage is up, it's all backlit. And it's beautiful out there. I drove up, actually I had to stop. I didn't know it was up yesterday when I drove in. On the front side, at the previous picture, on the right-hand side, when you pull up, you'll see Welcome to Natchez, the way we all know Natchez is spelled, backlit. It's going to be beautiful. There'll be a canopy across the top there, so as you walk in, you stay dry, go in, and get out of the weather. So that's all I have for you. Again, thank you for your support. It's going to happen. If you'd have asked me 6 months ago, Mitzi, in Mitzi's things, what you're saying? Failure is not an option. That's the only way we've gotten this done. Thank you very much, and I'll now call up Jeremiah.
Actually, we have a guest speaker that's going to come on here in a moment. It's Ted Christensen. He's the manager of route planning for SkyWest, so he's been our partner through this entire process. And I just want you guys to know it's not an easy feat to bring air service to a community. I've been working in this industry for about 12, 13 years as a consultant, and I work with a lot of airports across the country. And this asset that you guys are receiving from SkyWest could be put in hundreds of other airports, and there are many other airports that are putting business cases on the table in front of those guys. So I hope you covet this asset. You use it to the best of the ability that you have to travel. Spread the word, tell everyone about it, because it really is. It's difficult to get the air service, but it's even more difficult to keep it. because these guys, if they're not, making a profit here in Natchez, they do have the ability to move that aircraft to another destination. So I will say, we started back in 2022. I met Mayor. He came to some of our events, some aviation events, and it started as I get to come out, see the community. I'm from Louisiana. I graduated from Louisiana Tech University, but I lived down south, so I'd always drive past Natchez, to go up to Monroe and Ruston. But I never actually stopped into Natchez. So this is the first time that I had the opportunity to visit the area. And I really fell in love with it, like I think most people do when they visit it for the first time and, get to experience the old world culture and the charm of this community. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to unveil this secret to the rest of the world. And I think through introducing, this new service from United Airlines in partnership with SkyWest will actually help us do that. It also helped the business community grow and prosper. So it was a period of a couple years. This actually, just like the terminal building project, done in record-breaking historical time, I think this air service development project and working with the mayor and the county to get this done in this period of time is unprecedented. To be able to do this, to move it from concept, analysis, business case, relationship building, to actually securing federal dollars to help support the launch of this service, to getting an announcement from an airline like SkyWest. It really is about partnerships. And the mayor is one of the biggest cheerleaders, I'd say the biggest cheerleader for Natchez as he goes out across the country selling this dream of what Natchez can be and what it is. He's been great, and I think it's contagious. And I think he imparted that on the SkyWest team. They see the vision without even actually coming here until they made the announcement. That's the first time that they actually hit the ground to see Natchez when they came to make the public announcement. But we brought them there via slides and data. And of course, the mayor tells the story and talks about this region and the vision of this region like he owns it, like he's a part of it. And that really is important in these discussions because, this is a multi-million-dollar investment that's being made here. And these guys can't make a lot of mistakes when it relates to that multi-million-dollar investment. So with that, great partner, wonderful guy to work with, Ted Christensen. He's on the call. I think, Ted, can you hear us, Ted? I wanted to give you a couple minutes just to talk a little bit about SkyWest, the partnership, and then I'll take it from there. So Ted Christensen, manager of SkyWest Route Development.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I appreciate that introduction. I appreciate you guys sending over the links who joined. Fortunately, not in person as much as we would have loved to be in Natchez again. Visiting here in St. George, Utah. SkyWest, obviously, like you guys have mentioned, the world's or the country's biggest regional airline, partnering with United Airlines. So, the country's biggest airline there, United, the brand everybody knows, loves. It's partnering with United to bring air service into Natchez. I don't know how much better I could have said anything compared to what Jeremiah and Mary Gibson and Carl Mark said about the partnership we built Natchez and seeing the data, seeing the slides. Mary Gibson and Jeremiah very much so sold the community through those visits here to St. George and showing us what Natchez is. Really built up with us. We felt confident and I made a trip out in the suburbs to see Natchez myself when we made the announcement of the service. Really, much like Jeremiah said, right, I stepped foot in Natchez, goes beyond all expectations to see it firsthand, gave us even more confidence in what this could be, right, to bring people to Natchez to show off this beautiful town and everything that is going on here in Natchez. As much as we're optimistic, very optimistic of the 5 seats, and so we're relying on you all to use that air service, much like Jeremiah said, right? Now that you have it, it's harder to secure it, it's harder to keep it, so that is, kind of the message from SkyWest is use this asset, it's here for a reason. We want you guys to use it, we believe, and let this be a successful service, and so to have it there in the community, now it's in the community standard, using the service and making it work, and so, we obviously have that optimism, but we want to see that actually come to fruition.
Thank you, Ted. Everybody, please give a round of applause for Ted. These guys have been online and making this happen with SkyWest, so we appreciate his support. I talked to Ted multiple times a week, and he keeps me up to date on how things are going on as far as bookings and what we need to do to make this successful. So Ted's been a great partner, and he's been wonderful to work with. So thank you for joining us, Ted. I appreciate those words. Let me switch over now to my presentation. So I've got, you can see it, right? I've got some slides that'll get into some data because I'm a data guy. So of course I have to kind of talk about why does this make sense for Natchez, because I really want you guys to understand the story that we told, the detail that we put together in the analysis, and why it's important that those people that we see in that analysis are actually using the air service going forward. We also have some really cool things that we're rolling out. We're pulling out all the stops in partnership with SkyWest. We're doing a ticket giveaway sweepstakes. They're doing a status match with the Mileage Plus program, which is few and far between. You don't see that happen in a lot of communities. So we've been working behind the scenes to make it as easy as possible for the people of this region to go outbound to where they need to go for business or leisure, but as well as people coming inbound. So let me give you a little bit of background. I think the first thing, and I talked to Bayer a lot about this recently, is what is HEZ? A lot of people are like, what is HEZ? We don't know what this is. So we're a new airport, right? So a new commercial airport in the community. This is standard, right? So the 3-letter code for an airport, there's reasons behind that. Of course, it's assigned by it's called ICAO and IATA. It's basically a 3-letter identifier in the system of the FAA and aeronautical charts, maps, whatever it may be, identifying the airport. But it's also a tool for us to make it easy. You know, we're going to train the community when they hear HEZ, they know that we're talking about the airport. So we're going to get, you know, if you've ever flown out of any other airport, you know what I'm talking about. And fortunately for us, at least HEZ is the last 3 letters of Natchez, right? So you have Houston Intercontinental, which is IAH, right? Has really no connection. There's a lot of airports like that, but fortunately we have the HEZ. But that is the airport code. It's used when it helps kind of delineate from other airports in the system. You know, when you go to book the flight on United.com, you'll see HEZ in there. You could type in HEZ. So that's a tool in that respect to keep things organized. But it's also easy for us to put it on a billboard, right? We could fit HEZ on a billboard as opposed to that long Natchez-Adams County Airport name. So it is a marketing tool as well. So first, you've heard it here. HEZ represents Natchez-Adams County Airport. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, this is some of the initial slides that we put together and really trying to paint the picture of where we are in relation to other airports that have air service, right? So if you really think about it, the drive time to these airports in the region that have air service is about 1.5 hours to 1 hour and 40 minutes. So you add an extra hour on top of that, you're talking about 6 hours round trip. By the time you park, you go through the terminal facility. So it really is an arduous task for people from this region to get access to commercial air service. The other piece is we're competing against other tourism markets, and people want to get directly into the destination. So this was a big play to get people directly into Natchez as opposed to flying into New Orleans and taking that long journey up to Natchez or Baton Rouge or Jackson, whatever it may be. So this is definitely a big piece to the tourism element of growth here in the Natchez community to get access to air service. So let's talk a little bit about the analysis that we completed that helped us identify how many people in this region are actually flying. So this is a 60-mile radius around the airport, and I won't get into all the details here, but you'll hear that word PDU, passengers per day each way. It's basically what the airlines use to identify demand down to the daily count, right? How many people are traveling daily. So within this 60-mile radius, we have just under 500 people per day that are traveling in and out of that 60-mile radius. So we believe that we should capture that traffic, and we should also capture traffic that may not travel normally because now we have nonstop direct air service. We call that market stimulation. So where were they going before Natchez had air service? So that big green piece of the pie there is New Orleans. So a lot of people are making that long drive over to New Orleans, both in and out, you know, to access air service. A lot of them were using Southwest, which we'll talk about that here in a moment. And then behind that, you have Jackson, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, and then people are driving to Houston. They're driving that 5.5, 6 hour one-way drive to Houston to access air service to fly out. They're at the tune of about 29 people a day within that 60-mile radius. So we also want to know what airlines are capturing that traffic, because when we're talking to an airline, if they're already getting the traffic, it's really not that great of a business case. If people are already driving to a nearby airport to use their service, they're already getting the traffic. So it's probably not the best business case. In this case, United is not the largest capture of that traffic. It's about 16% of the total market. So this is a net new opportunity for United to capture flyers within this region. And that's really an important part of this discussion as it relates to business development. So where are these people going? So you probably don't know all these airport codes, but I'll just give you the top one. So with just the top markets that generate the 490 passengers per day each way, we have Los Angeles, Denver, Orlando, and Atlanta in the double digits. Those are the top four. We have about 7 people a day that are using air to get to Houston. So keep in mind, those people have to drive an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes, get on an airplane to fly to Houston. So those 7 a day, we want those on these local flights going nonstop into Houston, and we want stimulation on that local market to where we see 21 a day traveling to and from Houston because of the pricing, and I'll talk about that here in a moment, and the ease of the flight. It's about a 40-minute flight. If you equate that to the drive, you're talking 12 hours. That's 2 days of road travel if you're driving to Houston to go, use the medical facilities, to go do business, to do anything leisure over there. So this will save you at 2 days worth of road travel. You could do it, get there 45 minutes back, because it's definitely going to be easy to get through that small terminal facility out in Natchez. And then, so looking at Western flow markets, those are some of our top markets. Again, LA, Denver, Las Vegas, Dallas, Seattle, Portland, and what else do we have on there? San Diego. So we have about 100 people a day that are just going to Western markets, right? So you travel to the west, you go to Houston, and you flow directly over into the Western markets. So just those are many more people than we have in seats today. We have 50 seats daily with a regional jet, and the goal is to grow that, but we're going to start small. We're going to make sure we fill those seats. We're going to be profitable, and then we'll move on to the next phase where we'll see more frequency on a daily basis. There's a lot of information here, and I won't dig into too much of this, but we track cell phone device activity. That's the other thing, especially a market that doesn't have commercial air service. We want to know where those cell phone devices are coming from that are entering this, what we call CBSA, this region, and also the people who live here, where are they going when they're traveling. So we want to capture all of it, all the drive traffic, all the fly traffic. So you can see from an annualized basis, we have just under 1 million unique overnight visits to and from the region. So a pretty significant amount of travel. That equates to about 2,393 unique cell phone devices per day that are coming in and out of the region. And you can see, we could also see seasonality. We know that we reach a peak as we get into July, the summer months, and then we have a trough in August, September, but then we hit our highest peak as far as inbound visitation between October and December, and that's the sweet spot for us. We want to make sure that we capitalize on that. We'll have the air service up and running. We want to make sure those visitors are coming in and using the air service during that period of time. I won't talk much about this, but if you just focus on that bottom number, and this is Houston. This is traffic between here and Houston. So I told you people are flying represent about 7 people a day, right? I showed you that on that first chart. But this is how many people are actually driving in total. The total number of overnight visits between the two markets, 78 people per day are driving from Natchez to Houston. And then if you look at the other side of it, about 62 people per day are driving from Houston into Natchez. So that's a significant amount of people that are driving from the CBSA to the CBSA of Houston, from Natchez to Houston in both directions. So well over 100 people per day. So we want to make sure that those people are getting out of their cars. And I'm going to walk you through the process and talk about the fares and why it makes all the sense in the world to hop on an airplane as opposed to trying to drive to Houston, especially in today's economy. The other part to this, as I mentioned before, for an airline to come in and serve a community like Natchez, we need to support them up front with some what we call risk mitigation funds. So it helps them kind of offset that awareness phase until people get used to the service. They start getting on the airplane, flying on the new service. So we were successful with a partnership with the city and the county and putting together a proposal to apply for federal dollars through what we call a Small Community Air Service Development Grant. So we secured that actually a year and a half after we started working together. That was we had a plan of the things that needed to get done to make us, position us to where we could get, be reasonable when we come to the table to meet with the airlines. So in a record-breaking amount of time, because normally it takes a couple of years to get these things done. I worked in Gulf Shores. I don't know if you've heard about that new airport. That was a 7-year project. We did this and, got the funding in a year and a half, and then 3.5, 4 years, we've got airline service. So definitely a much faster paced project here. But we have about $950,000, which will be used to offset any losses that SkyWest/United has in this market for the startup phase. We want to limit that. If they're profitable right out of the gate, no funding needs to be paid out. But we want to make sure that we protect our investment, right? Because we don't want an airline to come in, not make any money and leave. We want to have some staying power. We want to have some incentive to keep them here to offset their losses. This is not paying an airline to come here. This is paying an airline if they're losing money. So that's what this is set up for, and it's federally funded. And we use this for airports across the country to introduce new air service, but this is a huge win. So just put it into perspective. There's a lot of numbers. We'll share some of this information with you guys as well. But what I really wanted to focus on, if you look all the way over to the right side where it says total, I've kind of bolded that total cost. So for the year to operate one flight to Houston from Natchez is estimated to be about $3.3 million. That is the amount of cost for that one flight a day operating between Natchez and Houston. So as I said before, just one flight, 3.3. If we're getting 2 flights, you're looking at $6-7 million annually, a risk to the airline. So we need to make sure that we're filling those seats. We have high fuel costs right now, so that's going into this equation, right? That's going to be a little bit more expensive to operate that aircraft now. So we need more and more people filling those seats, filling those airplanes, as much as possible. We'd love to see it happen every month, even in the off months. But that's just to put it into perspective. $3.4 million for one flight a day annually is the total cost. So what do we have? What are we getting here? We're not getting a little puddle jumper. We're not getting a little turboprop aircraft. We initially started thinking that might be the route. We talked to some airlines who had those types of airplanes, of 9-seat aircraft, that sort of thing. But we kind of hit the jackpot, I think, in launching this with a 50-seat regional jet through a partnership with SkyWest. So beautiful airplane. They announced Montgomery, Alabama. They announced Alexandria. So we've launched those markets leading up to this market. We need a little bit more time in Natchez because they didn't have a terminal facility. But I've had a chance to experience the service. They've been great. I remember the first couple flights that they operated out of those markets. They were 15-20 minutes early, 15-20 minutes early in both directions. This will be a short, easy flight, of course, on this one. Beautiful interior, 2-2. You got 2 seats on each side. Beautiful leather seats. And it's a fast airplane. It'll get you there in a very short period of time. Great experience. So, and let me talk just briefly about this partnership. So SkyWest is the operator. So, if you fly to any other airport or regional airport, you'll see United on the tails, but they're operated by these regional airlines. So SkyWest is the largest regional airline in the country. And SkyWest has a partnership with United to where they'll go to United and say, we like this community. We think it makes sense to fly there. We want to fly it at our risk, and you rubber stamp it, and we'll build it into your schedule as a United operation. And that's ultimately what we're doing here. So what does that give us as a community? We get SkyWest pricing. So SkyWest has control of the fares between Natchez and Houston. So we have some of the lowest fares that you're ever going to see to Houston because SkyWest controls that inventory. Once you get into the United network beyond, United prices all that, right? If you're going to LA, you're going to Denver, you're going to Seattle, that'll connect over Houston into the United network, and you're going to be paying whatever United is pricing that. But in this case, SkyWest is able to keep those fares really low on that Natchez to Houston, and I'll talk about some of that here in a moment. So let's go through the process of how you book. So I know a lot of people, this is new for some people. I know a lot of you are avid travelers, but so this is what the United page looks like. And if you're in the Natchez market and you're searching, you should auto-populate Natchez in the outbound side of this. And then, of course, if you're going nonstop to Houston, you could type in IAH or type in the word Houston. So if you look at the bottom, that's the flight schedule. So it departs Houston at 11:55 in the morning, and it'll land here in Natchez at 1:10 p.m. So it's a midday flight. It gets in about 1:10, so you can sleep in a little bit later, leisurely get out to the airport, have lunch, and then head out. And then it arrives in Houston it actually arrives in Natchez at 1:45, and then it departs for Houston at 3:05. So easy midday flight, get you into Houston, get you back, 40-minute flight is blocked for about an hour, a little bit over an hour, but the flight time is actually going to be a lot shorter than that. They always buffer it a little bit, but it's roughly about 40-45 minutes of actual flight time. So easy trip on a 50-seat regional jet. So look at the pricing on the Natchez to Houston. If you see where it says from 193. So that is your round trip cost to get to Houston. That's what it's priced at. The basic economy, which doesn't come with any bells or whistles, right? It's get on the airplane, to get there to Houston is 193. But the main cabin, which comes with all the other elements that you would have in a normal fare, is $233. Very difficult in today's market to drive to and from Houston, a 12-hour trip for $233. So the convenience, pay for the convenience, get the benefits of flying, get the benefits of using your local airport and sustaining this air service so we can continue to grow, we can add more frequency, we can continue to build the momentum here. And for that price, you're not going to find that price in any other market served directly by United. Because we have this price because we have a partnership with SkyWest, and they're controlling the inventory between here and Houston. So I'll fast forward here. So what are we doing to get the word out? We mentioned this before. It's difficult to get an airline here, but it's even more difficult to start a new airline at a new airport, new destination, right? So it's so important. It's crucial that we spend money, we spend time and attention, we do things like this, we educate the community on the air service available and why it's valuable and why we need to use it, right? So we're doing things, your typical marketing programs. We have paid media. We're doing earned media through stories, through interviews, things like that. We have a promotion I'm going to tell you about, which is hopefully you guys will get excited about this. It'll be a fly-free giveaway that we're rolling out today. And then United, the big mothership United is offering through their corporate sales team, or offering something that they don't normally offer in a lot of cases, but they're going to do a status match here in Natchez. So if you have a status with another airline that you fly, say American or Delta, you can go on this website, and I'm going to give you the information, type in all your information, and they'll provide the equivalent of that on the Mileage Plus program. You don't have to start from ground zero and fly multiple times to build status. You can take the status that you already have, and you can replicate that immediately and start flying out of here on that status that you already have with Delta, American, and some of the other competitors. That's huge. To be able to get that is huge. And they're only giving us right now a window until the end of this month for you guys to sign up for that. So I'll give you that information, but I urge all the business travelers, frequent travelers, it's the holy grail to be able to do that, to hop over and get a status match without actually having to earn it with the airline. It doesn't happen often at all. So we worked hard to get this, and we hope you guys are going to be able to use it. So I won't go through all this, but we are initiating some very aggressive marketing initiatives. I think we started about 2 months ago. I worked closely with Amy. Amy's been amazing. She is kind of the glue that holds that together. She's balancing a lot of different things. We've got a lot of different entities that promote the service and want to promote the service. Of course, we want to try to keep it consistent, so there's a lot of different moving parts. But we have a digital campaign which is targeted to those people that we know are in market to travel or hit our threshold of being a person who would travel on United. We started there. We have a landing page that was created. I'll show you what that looks like. And then we're doing video. We're doing all social media. All that's happening. Amy also has a zip code campaign through the Natchez Democrat that's kicking off. We've got radio spots that'll be launched over the next 4 months. And then we have partner marketing, and this is vital, and these guys are going to be huge in this and have been, is Visit Natchez, because we want that message to get out to those visitors, right? Those people in Houston who want to travel to Natchez, or even new markets. Now that we have this air service, we have over 200 cities served out of Houston. So this opens up many markets that we can develop to bring in new customers here who are going to spend money here and contribute to this economy. So we have other partners, the city's doing things, the county's doing things, but we want everyone to do it. We want everyone to share this wonderful news, talk to your neighbors, post it on your own social media feeds and get this word out. Make sure you go like the airport Facebook page so we can get more and more reach around the message. I won't go through all the details here, but this is some of the things. We're seeing an enormous amount of engagement with our ads. We've delivered just under 1 million impressions or ads to people in the region, and we've had about just under 20,000 people who've actually clicked on it and moved forward to our landing page. So in the world of digital marketing, that's pretty strong, having a 2.65% click-through rate across all these channels, social, display, and email. So this is what our landing page looks like. So once when you click on one of the Natchez HEZ ads, you're going to go either to the United website or you're going to go to flynatchez.com. And this was a site that was created solely for the airport, solely for the purpose of promoting the airline. So the left side, you'll see that at the top of the page, there's a Book Now button. There's a little bit of a section that talks about the value of the air service to the community. And then, of course, we're providing updates around terminal and things like that. You'll also be able to go to this page, I believe, hopefully by the end of the day, if not the end of this week, and the banner for that sweepstakes will be added there. So you can access the Fly Free giveaway on this landing page. So flynatchez.com, pretty easy, right? So remember that. That's our landing page for the campaign. This is one of the most recent e-blasts that we sent out. So we've got, based on demographics, based on profiles that people fit that are in market to travel, done by USA Today. Gannett is our partner here. It's a company called Local IQ that manages their digital program. So they have all those multi-million-dollar resources to go in and say, that's the person you want to talk to. So we're sending strategically these messages to those people. So this is an email that people will receive. It talks about all some of the things you can do in Houston, the value of getting to Houston, all that good stuff. Because we really want a lot of people in that local Houston. Just get off the airplane in Houston, have a good time, do business in Houston. I think that's going to be what sustains this service in the short term until we can get more frequency, and then the connections become much more easier at that point. So I'm unveiling this today. No one's seen this yet in the community, but this is the Fly for Free sweepstakes. So you're going to be able to enter throughout this month until the end of the month. There's a URL at the top of that. We'll send that out. We'll share that with you guys. But again, if you go to flynatchez.com, be looking for it. It should be loaded up here pretty soon, if not today, by tomorrow. But this is basically going to give you an opportunity to win 2 round-trip tickets to Houston. So good way to introduce yourself to Houston for free, right? Get on the airplane, come experience the Natchez market. And we'll do more of these, but this is just the beginning. We want to start out to give you guys, a little taste of, especially people who may not have an interest in going to Houston. This will give them a good reason to come explore it and see what it's all about, right? I pulled this too from our partners. I mentioned Visit Natchez. They've been a great partner, and they're vital to this. We need to make sure that those tourists are coming in. So this is an excerpt from their website. If you click under Plan, the airport is right at the top. So you click on that, it brings you to the direct flight information. So they've been promoting this heavily. I think this is the number 2 page on their website that gets the most activity, which is saying something, right? Something's happening. They're getting it to the right people. People are searching it. We're going to get more and more visitors in the region because of that. Now, I'm getting ready to close, so I want to close on a good note here. I want to give you, so we're working directly with United. SkyWest is our partner, and we do work through SkyWest, but obviously United is the big global carrier, and that's a huge benefit for the community. So we urge you guys to, number 1, sign up for the Mileage Plus program. It's free to do it. Just go to the website, United Mileage Plus, fill out your information, get that loyalty card. That's important. So we'll start there. And you can get a lot of benefits. The more you fly, you get miles. You already use them for many different things, air travel, whatever it may be. And you also get benefits on the airplane. You get upgraded, whatever it may be. So if you travel just a few times a year, it's still worth it. I recommend it. But here's the holy grail right here. So this is the status match program that is not offered to many communities But we worked closely with United Corporate Sales. Actually went up to Chicago and had some meetings with these guys to push this forward. And I know SkyWest has helped in this process too, because we really want you guys to get the benefit. We know United only have, remember I showed you, only have 16% capture in this market. So we know a lot of people don't have Mileage Plus. We know a lot of people may be flying Delta, they may be flying American, and we have United here. So we want to make sure that you guys can take all that hard work on getting on those airplanes and replicating it right here without having to do it all over again. So you can do that here. So if you go to united.com/status match, that's where you're going to want to go. And you'll fill out some information because it needs to know that you're here, right? They're not just going to give this to everybody in the U.S. It's going to be unique to this market. So you'll fill out the information. Of course, it's going to want to know what your status is with the other airlines. So there's some of those types of questions, and they'll replicate that status. So the next time you fly, you start building on that status with, get those points, get that benefit of having that higher level status. So this is huge again. And then the last piece, just like when you get on an airplane, what are they pushing? Get the credit card. So this last slide really is just speaking about that. If, being the only airline here, I definitely recommend getting this credit card. The benefits that come with this credit card are going to be amazing. You get an enormous amount, and it's good for the airline. This is a huge revenue generator for most big carriers like this. So for them to see a lot of people in this region are signing up to get this card and to use this card, this is almost as important as filling seats on the airplane. So Mileage Plus program, get your status match, and go and grab this credit card. This will be, do you do those things? And of course, the most important thing, get on the airplane and fly to Houston and beyond. We want you guys to use it. We're coming out of the gate, new airport, new airline. Our bookings are starting to ramp up in July. We typically see a lot of the bookings happen about 40 days, outside of the launch of the service, because people tend to book a little bit closer in. This is more, in some cases, corporate travel and things like that really start to ramp up then. We'll have some lighter bookings in August and September, so we're likely to probably see the schedule get pulled down a little bit. Maybe there may be some weeks where we don't operate 7 days a week because it is kind of the off season, and we don't want to be operating empty flights out of the gate and paying a minimum revenue guarantee. So be expecting that potentially. But of course, October, November, December, now we can start booking those flights. We can start filling those seats, and we can keep the momentum going as we move into 2027. So I know I covered a lot of information, but it really is. It's a process, and it's a daunting task. Not to mention the record-breaking terminal project that the county, Mitzi, and Carl are undergoing. I try to pop in on those meetings, but I couldn't get anything done because they have meetings, and it's just nonstop because they have so much going on out there. So I stay in my lane. I'm going to focus on the airline and the air service and the marketing and working with Amy. But these guys have done an amazing thing. To be able to get that done in the record-breaking time that they've done it, I told Carl he's going to have a great resume, but he's like, no, I don't need it. I'm here in Natchez. So this is where I'm going to be. So, but Mitzi, thank you, Mayor. You've played an enormous role in this, and it really is a great example of how city and county can work together. The county and the city shared in hiring me. They came together in a partnership and hired me, and we worked together over those years to get to where we are today. And this is the end result, and we want you guys to keep it. We want it to flourish. We want it to grow. And thank you guys for coming out. We appreciate the time, but we'll share this information. I think we maybe have a question. Can we take it? Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate the time.
Great job. Guys, you see what we got for our investment and collaboration? No wonder we've got a commercial airline coming. I have been with Jeremiah at so many conferences, and I have seen him. This guy, Jeremiah, I still look at you. You look as young as you were when I first met you. And we get to these places, and people who have a lot more gray hair, I don't know that you have any gray hair, they come up to him and they treat him as a guru. He is so respected throughout this nation among all airline executives that you can imagine. And Jeremiah, thank you for delivering for Natchez-Adams County. We're grateful for you. Also, Also, I want to say, Ted Christensen, if you're still on the call, I will never forget meeting you for the first time and then having you come out here to Natchez. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts to you and SkyWest for investing in this vision and investing in Natchez-Adams County. We're really grateful to you. Do you think Ted heard that?
I did. Thank you very much, Mayor. Much appreciated.
All right. And Ted, I'll never forget when y'all said, okay, we got 1 hour. And then I think we were 2 hours and then some, and we all took a congratulatory picture together. Can you believe that's been a little over a year ago, March of last year, and now here we are. Thank you, Ted. So before we end, we are going to have a little time for question and answer. And I'm going to bring them up again in just a moment. That will be Carl and Jeremiah. But we've already said we couldn't be doing this without the leadership and our Board of Supervisors, President Hutchins, Supervisor Middleton. We just appreciate you so much. Missy Khan, if it weren't for you, I don't know that we could have ever gotten this over the finish line. And we're so grateful to you. So grateful also to Alderwoman Smith and Alderman Maroney, because the city, it wasn't always easy to get the city to come up with the money to partner in this deal, because there are so many demands on the city budget, and tax dollars only go so far. And so thank you for always being in the lead to make sure this happened. Now, this is where I'm leading up to. There have been a number of other partners that we have not mentioned. But I want to say, if there's anyone in this room who has been a part of this, I've actually been stepping back and letting the experts take on all of this construction, which is amazing, to build a multi-million-dollar terminal in less than, 6 months? It's really historic for Natchez. And so I'm going to ask Lindsay, Visit Natchez, stand up. Amy Guido has been helping with marketing. The Airport Advisory Board members, if we have any of our Airport Advisory Board members, they have been just so great in the leadership. And anyone else, Ms. Pomeroy, we appreciate you very much. Please stand up. And if there's anyone else that we have overlooked, please know we're thanking you now. And then I also want to say we owe a lot of gratitude to the governor of this state, the Honorable Tate Reeves. In fact, Governor Reeves has come through with a few $1 million to help make this happen. And it has been done in such a wonderful, fast way. And through Mississippi Development Authority, Mr. Bill Court, it's remarkable to see the support we have gotten from our state leadership. What we've gotten from Delbert Hosemann, our Lieutenant Governor. And also, just this morning at 7:30, I was on the phone with Senator Roger Wicker. He called me, and I wish he could have been here, but it was Senator Wicker that helped us get this SCASI grant. And we were one of the very first communities in the whole nation to get this grant on our first try. And that grant now has almost $1 million in the bank ready to offset any losses in the beginning months and to make sure SkyWest United is a complete success. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Senator Wicker, and I just have to say that. There are a number of other federal and state officials. We'll have time to acknowledge them later on, because July 1, I want you to mark your calendars. What time does the flight land, the first flight? 1:10. And so we will be having a celebration at the airport, and we are excited about this, and we encourage you to come out and be there to welcome the first flight as it lands, and then a couple hours later as it leaves, departing that first flight to Houston. These are exciting times, and we're just so grateful. Now at this time, I would like to invite back, I'm going to step aside because I don't have the answers, they have the answers. Carl, Jeremiah, while they're coming, I do want to say I've already gotten my United Explorer card, and with it, I got a $500 bonus that's good for a couple trips to Houston. If you haven't gotten your credit card, if you haven't gotten your frequent flyer card, get those. It's a big deal, and it's money in your pocket. The other thing, Jeremiah said this, but all the marketing that is out there on social media right now, please share it. Share it with all your contacts. For this to succeed, we need your buy-in. We need you buying tickets. We need you flying to Houston. And then also sharing this marketing with everybody you know so that word can spread that we've got flights in Natchez. I've got one more thing to share before I turn it over to you guys. I have a friend who just a few months ago reached out and said, I think we need to call it Natchez International Airport. He booked a flight. He will be going in September for $733 round trip to London, England, from right here in Natchez. I want to make sure everyone gets this. It is one stop to anywhere in the world by way of George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. That means you can go anywhere, and we have TSA now here in Natchez, parking here in Natchez, a very short walk to the terminal, to your seat, and you're off. Let's not squander this opportunity by failing to take advantage of it. A friend just shared yesterday a round trip to Amsterdam. We have an international airport now here in Natchez, folks. Let's not squander it by sitting on our laurels, by saying, oh, it'll never happen. Oh, we'll never succeed. No, let's get engaged. Let's buy these tickets. Let's share these posts. And let's make this airline succeed. We owe it to SkyWest. We owe it to United Airlines. But most of all, we owe it to ourselves. This is a great time in the history of Natchez. Now, we're going to have questions, if any of you have questions, and we'll let these gentlemen answer.
Well, it's for the online people. It's for the online people, man. Sorry.
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. I have two questions. One is around if there is a way to help people who are trying to, for instance, I'm trying to get from Natchez to DC. If there could be maybe a place on the website with a suggested, connecting flight to get to DC. Some of us are sophisticated enough to figure that out, but in like those top 10 destinations that you mentioned, I think it might be helpful to people who are less experienced trying to figure out connecting flights. If I'm trying to get from Natchez to DC or Natchez to Las Vegas, if I know what's the next flight that I should book once I get to Houston, if I'm not going to use United.
Yeah, there's probably a couple different options there. So you can there's a telephone number that you can call United. It's on we can share that with you. If those people who aren't savvy online, don't know how to build that out online, they could just call, and there's an agent that'll do that for them directly with United. So I would say probably go there first. There is other options too. You can go to Kayak, which is a booking system online as well, where you can type in Natchez as your origin city and then DCA being your destination, and it'll pull up that option. It's only one flight, so the connection's going to be pretty static. I mean, it's going to usually within two hours of your arrival, sometimes 30 minutes, 40 minutes to 2 hours is when the next flight, there's many flights that operate from Houston to DC daily. So it's going to give you the one that gives you the better connection time anytime you go into Kayak. You can do this directly from United's page too. If you just typed in HEZ, DCA, or just typed in Washington, D.C., it'll actually give you that. There's only one flight out of here, so it's not going to be overly complicated. It's just going to give you what your next available connecting flight to D.C. would be. But if it is someone who's just not doesn't want to deal with the website, there's a 1-800 number that they can contact, and there's an agent who can book that for them.
Got it. Thank you. Very good. My next question is around local businesses who want to advertise at the airport. Are there opportunities for local businesses to advertise at the airport?
Yes, we are getting that going right now. We've just got approved by the Board of Supervisors for local passenger taxis, Lyft, Turo, things like that. But we're going to work with Amy to get this information on our website so you can go there and learn how to contact us and get involved. So I don't know if I mentioned, but Enterprise Rental Car will have a counter in the airport. So you can book with Enterprise directly, go in there, pick your bags up, get your rental car, and drive on home.
Hey guys, so I don't want to shock anybody, but I've never flown in an airplane, ever. So what do you, I know, wow, hold your seats, it's fine. But this, when I do this, because I say when, then that will be my first flight. I have some sound noise sensitivities. What do you have in place for people who are first-time flyers and people who have like disabilities, noise sensitivities, those kinds of things, like ADA accommodations? In those situations, what are we looking at with that?
But the terminal, I was talking to my new best friend over here who's booking a flight on July 1st to Chicago. We will have handicap access with SkyWest. They will provide wheelchairs. They have manual wheelchairs. They have electric wheelchairs, things like that. Quite honestly, have never been flown. I was an active air traffic controller for 29 years. I would fly any day of the week rather than drive in Baton Rouge. So it's safe. Nothing to worry about. As far as noise sensitivity, I would suggest, I'm not promoting Bose. I do not own Bose stock. Bose noise canceling headphones, I have them. They're great because there's always somebody that wants to talk next to you and you need some quiet. So that's just a start.
And you always got to be prepared for the crying baby too. That's a big one. So if you've never flown before, this is actually the perfect airport for you. It's going to be so easy. And the beauty of these smaller airports is you're not a number. You're a person. You're part of the community. The people who are going to be working at that airport are probably your neighbors, kin people, who knows. So it becomes a family. So you're treated as an individual, as a person in these smaller airports. And it's going to be so easy to get, the easiest way is check in on your phone. Go directly through security with a carry-on bag, right onto the airplane. We want you guys to get there early, but I'm a hypocrite here because I'm used to flying TSA pre-check and all that good stuff. So I'll show up like 20, 30 minutes before my flight and go get right on in some of these smaller airports. I don't recommend that, but it will be an easy experience. You don't have to show up hours in advance and try to find a parking place and not knowing if there's a security line out into the parking garage, out the front of the terminal building. This will be an easy experience for the local travelers. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little bit about how ticket sales have been so far?
Yeah, so it's still a little early. We expect to hit that. So I try to compare this market, to Alexandria. It's probably the closest one that I can, put my finger on. Alexandria is going to be different, obviously, because it's heavy business centric. There's some military traffic that's going out of there as well. It did have United service, and they're an existing airport. So we're running at about 7% below where Alexandria was during this same time period. So we're definitely right under them. I think we've yet to see it, though. We need to get a little bit of time under our belt. We want to make sure that everybody's aware of it. That's the first piece, right? Try to get that awareness up, spread the word around the community as well as inbound customers. But we are going to watch the seasonality, like I mentioned before. We know that it tapers off a little bit in August and September, and we're going to work with our partners with SkyWest to make adjustments during that period of time. But we definitely want to be fully, daily flights back in October, November, December when we reach our peak. Because we don't have an supply of money to offset any losses. So we want to make sure that we kind of manage that. We need a good, solid year under our belts to make sure that we sustain this service going forward. We've got some things in the works. We certainly want to tie American Cruise Lines to this as well. So that was a big part of the vision in the beginning. And that will hopefully help us get to a second flight. But of course, it takes time to get that done. Their booking windows and, their construction that's going on here and getting the ship to embark from here is going to be a big piece to this. But we need to get an airline here to even make that a reality, right? And that's what a big part of this was all about. But so it will be some time. We need to buy some time, to build the momentum. But yeah, we're watching it weekly. So we get a report from Ted and share it with, the leadership here just to give them an update on how things are progressing. August and September are a little light. We're seeing higher bookings in October, which follows the trend like we expect. But I think this month we should see a decent amount as we get a little bit closer in. I'd say probably in the next 2 weeks. Got the Fly Free sweepstakes rolling out. We've got this mileage program status match I think will be helpful. And then we'll keep the word circulating. So we're getting there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, question on transportation again, to and from the airport. What are the plans, like the different options, whether it's shuttle buses, Ubers, Lyft, that sort of thing? Kind of what are the options that are available to anybody? And also one final comment. The day you opened the United website to book flights, we have 4 people that booked that day coming into Natchez for the Food and Wine Festival in July. So good time. So transportation.
Yeah, we're partnering with Lyft in town. Nothing with Uber yet. There are local taxi services that are in town. There's downtown Carla Brown. So as they sign up, not downtown Carla Brown. Oh, she moved. Well, her card's still there, so that's why we're going through and kind of vetting who's actually out there now. I think Mr. Tipton, is he here? Taxi service?
Yeah, transportation. I actually work with those currently.
Okay.
I have a contract that is coming up with the Viking. I'm already working with ACL corporately to provide rides all around Natchez to people just on the cruise or anybody that calls. I've previously spoken, tried to get a little bit to you, way in the beginning, and the mayor knows all about the business. He said he's ready to have the car sitting up there waiting on people to get on out. So,
Yep.
but you can be prepared for that.
Go ahead and contact the airport and get your application in to provide service out there. What we're trying to do is protect the public, obviously, and also the county and the city. So we don't want, my wife showing up out there going, I'm providing service, and she gets in a wreck. And
That's a good question. In fact, we have Bishop Davis here also providing transportation services. Could you tell them, Carl, how to get in touch with you and how to make that connection for anyone wanting to offer transportation?
yeah, it's going to be eventually on the website, but for now, if you are in here and want to you can call the airport. I can give you a card. Call the airport and come out, and Miss Latasha can either email you or you can actually come out and pick up your paperwork. It's just 2 forms to fill out. We just want to ensure that you're licensed with the city of Natchez to do business, and that you have insurance and your cars are registered, and then you'll be giving a permit to put in your car to know you're actually authorized to be out there.
What are the limits? If you can just, if you know.
Limits?
As far as I know, it's different because it's an airport. Airport limits might not be the same as insurance. That you might be insured somebody around the city when you're stationed at the airport. For instance, I've been told upwards of $1 million type insurance contract. I was just wondering if you had any of that kind of.
I would have to look at the paperwork with the contractor that we just got it with, but I can let you know.
Of course, we want to convince everyone to utilize this service. One of the big benefits to me, it seems, would be the cost savings. As earlier you showed that New Orleans is by far the most common departure location for people in this area. Has an estimate been done of what most people spend, both in time and money, fuel, parking, all that sort of thing, and what the advantages are to flying from Natchez from a monetary standpoint? What does parking cost in Natchez versus what does parking cost in New Orleans? How much does it cost to drive from Natchez to New Orleans? The time, all of that put together in, okay, this is what it costs you to fly out of New Orleans. This is what you can do it from Natchez for.
Yeah, most of the time has been spent on just generating awareness that we have air service, but yeah, that's the next phase, I think, of our marketing program, is to really start to dig into, of course, it's one flight a day, so we're not going to be relevant to everyone, right? So if someone has a family of 4, they want to go to Disney, something like that, it may make sense to go find a low-cost carrier down in New Orleans, but, it's only 50 seats a day that we need to fill here initially. So we know that it's not going to be relevant to everyone, but we do need to, tell that story as we progress in the process that, especially since a lot of those people are going to New Orleans to fly Southwest, and Southwest is a little bit more expensive than they used to be. So you couple that with the fuel price and the time on the road, and, sometimes if you get a canceled flight, you got to stay in New Orleans overnight and fly out the next morning. Here, you can just go home, and get back up and come fly to your home airport. So there's a lot of little things like that add up, but it will be a part of the marketing program as we get into beyond the launch, I think. But it does, you do have to really tell that story, because a lot of people just think, oh, I can get a lower fare down there. Oh, I can fly nonstop. Well, you're not really flying nonstop. You're just connecting by your car. If you're driving there, right, you're still connecting. You're just taking a car to get there, and you're not getting the benefit of that flight either between there and the connecting airport in your status, right? You get a leg, plus you get miles if you're on an airplane connecting. So there's a lot of different things like that. We work with a lot of airports to tell that story, but that's a good point, that if you do the math especially if you're just going to Houston, it's much cheaper, much easier to fly out of here as opposed to driving to a neighboring airport.
Carl, will there be a charge for parking at the Natchez Airport?
For you, Mr. Big Lane? Yes, sir. We're working with Park Mobile. Park Mobile, it's a mobile app. You'll come up, you'll scan. We've talked with the Board of Supervisors, or Advisory Board. Was not unanimous, but we are going to charge parking. It's $8 a day. There'll be hourly up to $4. After that, it's $8. Disabled veterans will never pay. So I will not do that to veterans. So veterans are free. Mr. Big Lane, $16 a day for you all day long.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Justin, we got Ms. Vigil. Did you have a question? Okay,
Just real quick before we get, I want to, a lot of people didn't know there was an airport out there, but this is a steady, busy little general aviation airport. And who I didn't give a shout out to is Jay Massey and Easy IFR and his leaders, or his owners, and Kevin Samro and the other tenants out there. God love them. They put up with all this through all there. And I just thanks for their patience while we're dealing with this, and they're working around us. So they've been great to work with.
In fact, I want to mention, Jay just shared with me how well our Flight Training Academy is going. And at last count, gosh, it was about 300 pilots that you had trained. I don't know what your number is now, Jay. And I believe this is going to really be a great help to that academy that actually brings flight students from all over the world to train and get their first certification right here in Natchez. I think also, Ted, you're listening, I think that this could provide future pilots possibly for employ with SkyWest and United. So we're just grateful. Not every city has a flight training academy, and we have one that's flourishing and growing.
Yeah, actually, she has a question. You have a student out there right now from Mexico City. He's here for the week, and we've actually got another gentleman staying with us from Germany, coming out there to fly with you guys.
For parking, my husband doesn't have a cell phone, so you have to have an app to...
It is an app, or you can go online and do it.
Okay.
But we'll figure it out. We'll work with you. We're not going to boot you the first day.
Okay.
Have all the jobs been filled at the airport?
The airlines need a 2, as far as I know. TSA is still seeking employment. You go to usajobs.gov, and they are still hiring. I am hiring. I'm looking for linemen out there to work the airport, fuel the aircraft, marshal the aircraft, cut the 672 acres of grass, maintenance. So yes, there are jobs to be had.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. President Hutchins, did you have anything you wanted to share? I just want.
Okay. I just wanted to say I'm elated about this. Me and the mayor started this journey, I think back
2021.
in 2013.
2021. You and I went to Greenville.
Yes, we went to Greenville. We
Supervisor
stayed at the
Middleton.
airport there, and it was so exciting. And this always been a vision of mine, so I told the mayor. So with it coming to fruition, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that's been a part of this, because it wasn't easy. It was a hard job to get this going, but thank you to the mayor most of all, because he didn't give up. He did not give up. So I always tell him this was a beginning, but myself and him was also an ending for myself and him.
It is.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you. And also to Missy Khan, our county administrator, who have worked tirelessly to make this happen. Thank you.
And President Hutchins will be there July 1 celebrating, won't we? Thank you. Everyone, thank you so much. And we close out today just giving thanks for many prayers answered. A wonderful, wonderful Lord who looks over Natchez and keeps us in the palm of his hand. And without his favor, we could do nothing. Be blessed and share everything you see and book those tickets and register for the free ticket sweepstake. I hope that's what everybody leaves here and starts doing immediately. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Carl, Jeremiah. God bless you.